So then, it's that time of year again for the glorified content updates that comes with the annual releases for every major sports game out there. In this case, it's F1, a series of games that has been through so many different developers and publishers since the 1980s. It wasn't until the 1990s that F1 themselves started licensing the video games to developers, with the major players being Sony, EA, and Codemasters. Each yearly release featured tracks, teams, and drivers from each season every year, so die-hard fans of the sport can play as their favourite drivers that they follow passionately. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. My name is Stuart from SB Simulators, and I welcome you to Honest Reviews, the series that provides you with a sincere and blunt opinion of games, software, and hardware featured on the show. All my reviews are free of sponsorship, meaning you will get my most honest opinion on a product featured on the channel. With that being said, here is my honest review on F1 2025. Codemasters was originally founded in 1986 by Richard Darling and his brother David in the town of Banbury in Oxfordshire, located in the southeast of England. Alongside the help of their father, they created their first ever game titled BMX Simulator with the aim of creating budget-friendly titles with the quality of full-priced games. As the 1990s rolled in, Codemasters moved away from their budget-friendly legacy to more full-priced titles. The company saw success with the Micro Machines series on multiple platforms at the time, with the major ones being the Sega Mega Drive and Nintendo Entertainment System. Between 1998 and 2003, Codemasters have developed a wide array of games at the time, spanning across multiple genres, including racing games, with titles being the Colin McRae Rally series and the Toka touring car games on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. By the end of the 2000s, Codemasters have shifted their focus towards racing games, to which they developed Race Driver Grid in 2008, which went on to receive critical acclaim and became one of their most beloved titles within the racing games genre. 1 year later, they developed their first ever F1 game after they acquired the license for the sport the previous year, and developed F1 2009 on the Wii, which was criticized heavily for its poor graphics and physics engine. Since then, Codemasters remains the main developer for the F1 games, releasing games as each year passes for every season of F1 since their first game in 2009, operating out of Southam in Warwickshire. The 2010s saw the studio at their peak within the racing games genre, and developed Dirt and Grid series at the same time of developing the F1 games for multiple platforms including PlayStation and Xbox consoles, along with the PC. As of today, Codemasters is currently under the management of Electronic Arts after they were bought by the company in 2021. F1 25 features a good handling model where it captures how a modern day F1 car behaves. If you're a wheel user like me, you will be able to experience this firsthand as it simulates the experience of driving the car within the game. The force feedback feels amazing with my Moza R9 wheelbase running with the GS wheel. I was able to feel every curb and bump on the surface of the road. All the tracks in the game are laser scanned, so even the most minor detail on the circuit is captured and replicated in the force feedback, providing the information needed to communicate with the driver. How the car behaves is also replicated in the game. I love how the feeling of driving in dirty air is also captured within the game, as it adds to the handling aspect of it, provide the same kind of feeling that the real world drivers get when trailing the car in front. Snap oversteer and locking up the brakes are also recreated within the game, which is just what any F1 fan desires for when they drive in the car. Okay, I'll admit, the graphics are amazing in this game, especially at max settings. The lighting and textures are photorealistic, making the graphics so good in fact that I nearly confused it for real life at a few points of seeing it with my own eyes. Honestly, I think this is some of the best graphics that I have personally ever seen in any racing game. Where it shines the most is during night races, where you can experience all the graphical goodness within the game, including the bloom and the impressive lighting that comes with photorealistic graphics like this. Although I've always said that graphics aren't the most important thing in a video game, they do provide quite a lot of eye candy for people when playing the games like F1 for example. Of course, graphics like what F1 25 has is only possible if you have a very powerful computer. I was playing on an RTX 4070 graphics card, and when I set the graphics to Ultra Max and drove around the Las Vegas circuit, I was getting at most 50 to 60 frames per second, which shows how demanding the game can be. According to Steam, the recommended GPU to play F1 25 is an RTX 3070 graphics card. Any lower than that and you will most likely have to turn down a few settings in the graphics, otherwise you will most likely struggle with running the game. However, after a bit of tweaking and with the ray tracing turned off, I was getting just over 100 frames per second on my computer. If you are like me and you prefer FPS over graphics, I would recommend turning off ray tracing as it takes up a lot of your resources for playing F1 25. Performance wise though, the game runs at a stable frame rate right out of the box, and I never experienced any stuttering or freezing within the game itself during my 13 hours of gameplay so far. Although the majority of the game is copy and pasted from the previous iteration, there are a few noteworthy things that I did quite like about the game. I never tested it myself yet, but I like how Codemasters have included the reverse layouts for circuits like Silverstone and the Red Bull Ring. It's a very novel concept and shows what the track would be like if the race was ran in the opposite direction. I can only imagine the chaos in multiplayer though. That would be amazing to witness from an outside perspective. I also love how they included real-world messages from drivers within the game too. When you crash out or even finish the race, you get to hear recorded messages taken from the real world and implemented into the game to add those extra little details into the immersion of the game, making it just like how it looks on TV. Sadly, F1 25 has a few downsides that are honestly quite glaring to me. Starting off with the AI, rarely do they have any spatial awareness when racing against a player, as they don't recognize that they are beside me, the player, and would make erratic moves out of the blue and clatter me off the track because of it. Honestly, it was like the AI was programmed by Lance Stroll himself at Codemasters. No doubt his dad probably paid off EA to let him program the AI, but instead of doing that, he was licking jam off his desk, just like how he does with his helmet visor. While we're on the subject of Lance Stroll, the crash detection is crap in this game. I tested it on simulation damage, which is supposed to be the most realistic damage mode on the game, but this is what I got instead.
Okay mate, don't worry about the damage. I've got some new strategy options if you go and check your MFD. I'm afraid you've been given a time penalty for that last incident, mate.
Sorry.
Taking a few scrapes, try not to make it any worse, please.
I can't turn the car.
No shit, Sherlock.
Simulated damage. Simulated damage, and this is what Codemasters comes up with? Ranting aside though, I don't think it's entirely Codemasters' fault, as I'm guessing it's to do with the licensing deal in place with F1 and the FIA themselves, so that the team's cars don't get too crumpled up in the game, which is a shame really, because we won't be able to experience an actual realistic crash like in the real world. When it comes to the UI, Codemasters have decided that in an effort to make it look as aesthetically pretty as possible, they have decided the best course of action was to cram all the menus and functions into one corner or the other. In one way, the UI does look very nice, but it made trying to figure out what each function does really irritating, especially for wheel users like me. In order for me to know what is what, I had to constantly switch to the keyboard whenever I had to navigate around the UI in the game, because it's the only way I had to get anything done that way. Many times, whenever I tried to navigate the UI using the steering wheel, half the time I don't know what is what, because the game doesn't explain what button does what clearly when using the steering wheel. It's only when I switch to the keyboard, all the functions within the UI as to what menu does what appears on the very bottom right hand corner, especially in the garage. where it's crammed to the bottom right hand corner and it's very hard for me to see. For the career mode, it's just like how every other career mode is with the F1 games. However, I tried out the My Team career, which puts you into the shoes of being a boss of your own F1 team. It's pretty realistic, as you can hire drivers, negotiate the contract terms with them, and even fire them if you're not happy with them. At any point, you will be asked to make executive decisions for the team, which could lead to benefits but also consequences for the team based on the decisions made by you. But where it doesn't make sense is that you can only choose to play as one of your drivers during the entire season. So 1 minute you're the boss of the team, and then next minute on track you're communicating with yourself from another person's perspective, which to me just does not make any sense at all. Personally, I prefer the My Team career mode from F1 2020, where you get to be both the driver and the owner of the team while still making decisions from an executive level. Yes, I know it's not realistic considering how expensive F1 is nowadays, but it was a brilliant concept to explore and something that should have stayed in future F1 games as an option for players like me. Now, despite my harsh criticisms of the game, F1 25 does an amazing job of providing an in-depth experience of driving and being a driver in the ever-glamorous and often corrupted sport that is Formula 1. If you follow F1 a lot, especially this year, then you will be able to play as your favourite driver/drivers from this year's season. So fans have something to be happy about. So while it does have its flaws, it will provide an experience that hardcore fans of the sport will be happy with. If you like F1 24, then you will love F1 25 because it's the same game as the last one, only with a different hat on it this time around. So, that is my review on F1 25, and I decided to do this review for my cousin, who is currently struggling to decide whether he wants to buy F1 25 or not, or whether it would be a good game or not for us to play. So I thought I'd do him a favour and check it out for myself and make my own little review on it, and send this review on to him, where hopefully he'll be able to see for himself whether it's a good game or not. And also, I just want to thank you again for all the support shown on Honest Reviews. Your support genuinely does mean a lot, and it is great to see that Honest Reviews is having an impact on the gaming industry as a whole. It might not be a big impact, but it's a small enough impact to help people decide whether if they want to buy a particular game or not on the Steam store or on any kind of digital storefront or physical storefront for that matter. But for now though, thank you again for watching this video, and until next time for some more racing, flying and rock and roll, take care and goodbye.